honestly, this whole environment either looks like I just don't pay my electricity or is easy on the eyes because it's dark, kind of. I don't know, I just really wanted to record this because, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, I need to record this and it doesn't matter how I look, clearly. And it's just like, whatever. And I just want to talk about it. And so I want to warn people. That's so dramatic, but it is because I watched the worst movie ever. And when I say the worst movie ever, I genuinely mean the worst movie ever. There's another movie that I don't remember what it's called. It's with Clint Eastwood. Not Clint Eastwood, but another guy that's called something Eastwood. I'll put the picture here. That movie was very bad, really bad. But this one, okay, so I always saw it on Netflix, like I recommended. It's called Final Girl, and I was always curious, and like the description caught my attention. The actors looked, you know, cool, and I was like, okay. And then today I finally got around to watching it. I was like, oh, I don't have anything else. I watched all of Madagascar. So I was like, let's watch it. When I tell you, I literally cringed. There's this scene, a specific scene, spoilers obviously, a specific scene where one of the murderers, because essentially it's about a group of 4 guys who just murder women. They take them to a forest and kill them. And there's one girl who, she's like an assassin, she's being trained to be an assassin, in high heels. Okay. And this guy, he's like, there's kind of like the leader, and there's the other, like, they're all stereotypes. One has mommy issues. One is trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm like humane, and like I'm in love, and like I have human emotions, but then he goes and murders like 20 women and chases them around in the forest. And then there's the other guy who's just plain insane, who is just wants to kill people. And then there's like the leader, who he's kind of like the one who kind of picks the girls. So the leader walks up to the assassin. He doesn't know she's the assassin, and she's drinking a milkshake, and the dialogue is just so cringy. It's bad. It's really bad. It doesn't make sense. It's not told like what time, like what date it is, because people dress like in the olden days, but not olden days, but like, you know, like in the 80s. And they all had like, it looked like Riverdale, except Riverdale, they dress like now. In this movie, they didn't dress like now, so I was kind of like, what time period is this? Anyways, the scene is, he takes her milkshake, and it's just no cuts. Like, it felt like 15 minutes. It was just probably a minute of him just sucking on the milkshake, looking directly at the camera. And I was like, I'm so uncomfortable. Why? Okay, so that, you just need to watch it. I'm not like, it's not a good movie, but just that part, if I can find that part, maybe. But, so, awkward dialogue. Completely just, they just don't know how to people. It felt so weird. And the thing is, they were decent and really good actors, and they were trying with that script, but it was horrible. Like, you could see that there were scenes that were emotional and crying, but the dialogue was just like, what? And sometimes, like, one of the characters, he's supposed to be like this no emotions killer, like, don't care, and then when the girl's about to kill him, he turns into a baby and starts like crying and begging for his life, and it's just like, huh? What? And oh my god, there's this other scene that's just like, there's a montage of the main protagonist, Veronica, I think that's her name, fighting, you know, because she's an assassin. It's her in a dress, in high heels, boxing with her trainer, and her trainer's like training her to be assassin, not like her gym trainer. And I kid you not, I felt like I was watching robots. I felt like they had never interacted with human beings ever. Like, it was so confusing, and the montage was just, I don't know if it was edited weirdly or they didn't like use the correct music, but there really wasn't a lot to work on, because it's like a girl in a ponytail, and it didn't even look like, sometimes when they wear like sometimes in when like badass scenes with women and they show them like dressed feminine, but they're like, you know, working out or like punching people, like Atomic Blonde. She's dressing wonderfully and she's kicking butt. This no, this did not, no. And no. And the thing is, all the sets were like, it was a really, I don't want to say cheap movie, but like they didn't spend a lot of money on sets. They probably spent it on that forest because there's shots of, you know, when the guy's picking up his friends, the killers. They're not called the killers, but the killers. And it's a shot into where like their home, and it's all empty. There's this one guy just dancing in front of a wall. There's just like a coat rack, and this other guy's just sitting at a table with his mom, and there's no furniture. And even like where they stay at a hotel, like Veronica and her trainer, there's just like 2 beds. And when they're training in this like building, there's nothing in there, just like 1 chair. And it's like, who made this movie? And there was so, like, maybe it's like an art style that I'm not cultural enough to know, but it's just this weird, imagine like you're seeing me and everything's dark and out of nowhere just this huge light and that just happened randomly, like out of nowhere, just bursts of light, like kind of like stage lights, you know, like on theater, those type of lights, like not natural. Like it felt like I was like, what is happening? And it happened in the forest. Like even in the forest there was like the lighting made it so fake because it was just like pure light coming from the horizon, but it was dark and it was like midnight. I was very confused with the choices made for some of these scenes. The light was like weird to me, honestly. Oh my god, I will put the picture here. There's this actress, I don't know how old she is in real life, but she says, I'm just a 17-year-old girl. Where? This actress does not look like like I literally thought they were all probably like in their 20s, but when she said 17-year-old, I was like, girl, you look like you're 23 or 25. You do not look 17. Am I like being bamboozled to think that the assassin and everyone is like 17, 18? Because that is not happening. No, like they all look like an adults. Oh my god, okay, so what we can tell, the town is very small. Like apparently everyone goes to eat at the milkshake place, and these 4 guys all dressed in tuxedos, I think they kill maybe like, at least and how they're shown, they kill like every 2 to 3 days. They've killed 20 women in a small town, okay? And it's 4 guys in tuxedos, and no one suspects them. And there's even one where there's other people around when they take the new girl, and then the next day she's missing, and they're not even like, they show the guys living in like big houses, so you can be like, oh, maybe they're rich, but like no one would be suspicious of them. Even if the cops were being paid off, people would still be suspicious. People would be telling their daughters, don't go out with I was like, how logically, how? I'm cool. There, also the scene, finally, the scene that you're supposed to be pumped up for, the scene where she's being chased and she's fighting. Most boring scene ever. This movie was just, it was drawn out. It was this pace. It wasn't like it was horrible. Like I watched the whole thing because I was like, it's 30 minutes left, I might as well. I've invested my whole entire time. You felt zero tension. Zero tension. There was no tension. You didn't feel any empathy, any worry for Veronica. You were like, okay, she's in trouble. You know, you didn't feel like, my heart, you don't like feel that, like, oh my god, I hope she survived. You don't care. You don't care. It's just kind of like, whatever. And there's this scene where she breaks her own nose, and I don't get why. Because I thought, oh, maybe she's going to let the main, well, they are bad guys, I don't need to air quote that, the main bad guy, and like put him to jail, but no, because her task was to kill them, and she does, so I don't get why she broke her own nose. And the thing is, the way that she kills them all was smart, but it was still annoying. It was not annoying, it was just like boring. Like, you can, like, I don't know if it was edited weirdly or it's just, I don't know, but it was just so boring. It was really boring, like, just boring. Now, just my, what movie I would recommend. The Final Girl movie. The movie where you're rooting for the girl. She's a badass. She knows how to fight. She's not in high heels. And she looks amazing. Not saying that Abigail Breslin did not look amazing. She looked gorgeous in this movie. You know, she was blonde, red dress, red lipstick. She looked good. But I mean, just the whole entire package of just like, is the movie You're Next. That movie, I was like, oh my god, because that girl is a badass, and it is very entertaining, and it keeps you suspenseful, and you're rooting for her. And in this movie, you do not root for her, and you should be rooting for her. And it's just like, and they don't explain anything about like her. Like, at the beginning, they show her as a kid being like recruited. They don't really explain how she's being recruited because her parents died, so maybe she's an orphan, and she's been like, it's like 12 years later, and I'm like, they've been training her for 12 years, and she's still like, if you watch the movie, you will understand. Like, I know I'm saying do not watch this movie, but if you do, just because you're curious, you will understand what I'm saying. Now, I'm doing this to prevent anyone from watching this movie, because it's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. Like, I cannot stress enough how boring it is. Like, I have watched bad movies that are entertaining. Like, I've watched Two-Headed Shark, you know, those type of movies that they're like bad, but they're fun and they're entertaining and they might be silly. This one was neither. It was like made by people who had never interacted with humans, and like, it felt like five different people were working on the same project, and you can notice. Like, the actors tried. They really did try with that dialogue, and they acted as best as they could. And, you know, the crazy ones, like the crazy killers, were crazy killers, but that was it. I mean, they did a really good job, not gonna lie. But that was it. That was their whole entire character. Like, there wasn't any depth to any character. There wasn't any backstory. It's like, oh, we know her parents are dead, and we know he apparently was hit by his dad, but it was like just tidbits, like not enough for you to be drawn in. And it was just like, oh my god, they spent like 20 minutes playing Truth or Dare, and it was so boring. Like, I know it was meant to build tension, but where? But yes, this is my review of the most boring movie I have ever watched in my 22 years of life, and I hated it so much. Like, this is the first one. The second one is the one that I mentioned before. This is the first one. Like, this one took that one's spot. Like, this is how bad it is. And I can't believe people watch this in the movie theater. Like, I watched it at home on Netflix. People watched and paid for, well, I mean, you pay for Netflix, but you know what I mean. Paid for, I would have felt like horrible. Like, the bad movie that I watched, the other one that I talked about, I paid for that in the theater, and I felt horrible. So I can only imagine what people felt watching this. Anyways, I'm leaving this here because too long. Don't want to drag this out like that movie did. So that is my review to Final Girl. It was bad. Bye.